gorgeous, and welcome to the Dollhouse. Today I'm going to be sharing with you my experience using Latisse. What Latisse is an FDA approved treatment for hypotrichosis, which is inadequate or not enough eyelashes. And this upper eyelid treatment basically helps you grow longer, thicker, and darker lashes. And the way that Latisse was discovered is glaucoma patients were using a prescription treatment, bimatoprost, and one of the side effects of that was these glaucoma patients were growing really long, thick, dark eyelashes. Once you start using Latisse, it takes about 16 weeks or 112 days for your lashes to reach their optimal growth. I would say for me, it took about 3 months for people to start commenting on my eyelashes, but it was 16 weeks for me to really have that full growth potential. And I have been using it now for just over a year. And once they hit that optimal phase, they have not changed. Latisse is something that you apply every night to each of your eyelids, and you apply it using these sterile applicators that come with it. And so there are 2 sterile applicators in each of these little packets. So 1 packet for each night. And what you do is you take a drop of the Latisse, put it on the applicator, and then touch it as close to your eyelash line as possible. Then you will take the other one, and repeat the same process on your other eye. So you only do it at night and you do not put it on your lower eyelid. There are 2 sizes of Latisse, so they come in 3 milliliter and 5 milliliter. The 3 milliliter, it comes with 60 applicators, which means that that is 1 month of use because you'll be using 2 of those applicators per night. The 5 milliliter, which is what I have right here, it comes with 140 applicators or about 10 weeks of use. The 3 milliliter usually runs about $120 and the 5 milliliter is $179. However, there are quite often deals. For example, my dermatologist just ran a special where if you buy 1 5 milliliter at regular price, you get the second one for $39. So basically you're saving $140, which is huge. I've noticed in my experience with both the 3 milliliter and the 5 milliliter, I actually run out of applicators before I run out of the solution. So there are a couple of tips that I have found that actual doctors have recommended to their patients to extend the use of your Latisse to kind of make sure that you're getting your full money's worth. One of those tips is to only use 1 sterile applicator a night. And so that way you can actually have more applicators left over to use the rest of your drops. Now, there is a danger to this because if you're only using 1 applicator a night, you could actually transfer any infection that you have in one eye to the other eye, which is why they give you 2, because ultimately, ideally, you would be using only 1 per eye. And another tip is that you can actually take your solution, take 1 drop and just put it in the lid, and then take your applicator and put it in the lid, and then apply it to your eye, and then apply the rest of it, dip it in, and apply to your other eye. So that is another thing that is not completely sterile at all. The benefit to that is that you can make your solution last longer, because if you are using 2 applicators a night, that means you're using 2 drops a night. But by dropping it in the lid and only using 1, you will actually find that there is enough solution in that to cover both eyes. I've tried all of these and I haven't had any issues. However, it is not recommended by Latisse for a very good reason, and that is keeping things sterile. For me, it's not much different from me using the same mascara wand on this eye and then using it again on this eye, the same eyeliner in this waterline and using it on that waterline. I already am quite open to potentially spreading any infection from one eye to the other with those activities. But it's not something that I would say, oh, everybody should do this. It's something that you really have to decide for yourself. Now I want to get into some of the advantages and disadvantages of using Latisse and my personal experience. So one of the advantages, obviously, is longer, thicker, and darker eyelashes. And I have experienced all of those things I'll insert a picture here so you can actually see what my lashes were like before and then how they looked after using the Latisse for a minimum of the 16 weeks. And as you can see that they are definitely longer, they are darker, but with the darkness, they weren't quite as dark as I would like. So recently I did try eyelash tinting, which was fun, and it really helped vamp up the benefits of Latisse, because that way, even with no mascara on, it really was nice to see kind of long lashes just kind of rolling out of bed and looking like you were born that way. However, even with the tinting, nothing compares to putting mascara on the lashes. It really takes them to the next level. And when you're using Latisse, you can really see a huge impact when you put your mascara on, because there are just more lashes there and they're so much longer. There are a lot of potential side effects related to Latisse, and I'm not going to go over all of them here, but I am going to highlight some of them, and I'm going to talk to you about some of the side effects that I've experienced myself. And one of the number one side effects, whenever I tell my friends like I'm using Latisse, a lot of them freak out and say, oh my gosh, but can it turn your eyes brown? And that is definitely it. It can add increased brown pigmentation to your eyes. For me, I have not experienced any change in pigmentation, and I have blue eyes, so it was definitely scary. When I first was prescribed Latisse, I actually sat on that prescription. I bought Latisse, took it home, paid for it, sat on it for 2 years because I was so hesitant, because I was afraid that my eyes were going to turn brown. I decided that for me, if I noticed any kind of pigmentation changing happening, I would just stop the use of Latisse immediately, because I figured it wasn't going to be one night I go to bed with blue eyes and then I wake up and they're brown. I knew it wasn't going to be like that. I knew it would be something where I would start noticing the change. So I haven't noticed it, but if I do, I will absolutely stop right away. Not that brown eyes aren't beautiful. They're gorgeous. I just have blue eyes. So I kind of want to keep it that way. Another side effect to Latisse is the darkening of your eyelids. And that is something that I have experienced. Right along the application site, I have noticed a little bit of redness. And even outside of that, I've noticed it. No matter how cautious I am, I make sure that I get all excess. I wipe it with a tissue as they instruct you to do, to make sure you get the excess off. Even with that, I still have it. Now, if you discontinue use of Latisse, if you notice that you did have increased brown pigmentation of your eyes, if you stopped it immediately, that additional brown pigmentation is not expected to reverse. That is something that is likely to be permanent. If you discontinue the use of Latisse because you notice your eyelid skin darkening, that actually is expected to reverse itself over several weeks to a few months after stopping using Latisse. Another side effect of Latisse is that it can cause hair growth in areas where it frequently touches. For me, what I've noticed is I just am generally peach fuzzy, and I've always had kind of little peach fuzzes right here on the inner corners of my eyes. And since I've been using Latisse, those hairs have grown longer. I mean, and they're little peach fuzzy, they're little blondes, and it's not anything crazy, like it's so long it just gets in my eye or something. What I do tend to do is take my tiny little cuticle scissors and I just get up there and I actually have to trim them. I know that's gross, but I do. Another thing is, what I've noticed from using it is that my eyelashes can get a little bit out of control. Especially, sometimes they'll just grow out the sides just straight out and really long, where I'll have to trim them because they're just so long and not curling with the rest of them. I've met some people who have commented on my eyelashes, and I always tell them that it's Latisse, and a couple of people responded, well, I use Latisse and it just didn't work for me. So I don't think that having full-on results is typical for everybody. And now I can't speak to how consistent they were with their use, because you do have to be consistent with it. I do not miss an application. So I don't know how consistent that these people were, but they just did not have good results from it. I started with nice lashes. They weren't really long, they weren't really short, they were average. They were okay. And in general, I'm a pretty hairy person. So I think me starting with a good base for eyelashes and being hairy, I think it was kind of the perfect storm. And so I have had a lot of success with the Latisse, but I don't think that the results are typical. While I have experienced side effects using Latisse, so far for me, the benefits of using Latisse outweigh the disadvantages. Now, I know I'll be using it for at least the near future. Am I going to be using it forever? I don't know. I can't say that for sure. If anyone discontinues the use of Latisse, it takes several weeks to a few months to have your lashes. What they'll do is they will actually just return to their original state. So whatever lashes you had before you started using Latisse, they will just return to that state within a few weeks to months. Would I recommend Latisse to everybody? No, absolutely not. I don't think that it's for everybody, and I think it's something that you really have to give a serious amount of consideration to, and you have to talk to your doctor. Another thing that's important if you do start using Latisse is ensure that you are getting your eyes checked by an eye doctor as well, just to make sure that nothing is changing, there aren't any eye pressure issues or anything like that related to your Latisse use. And while I talked about many of the side effects related to Latisse, there are a lot more. Definitely make sure that you are making an informed decision when you do use this, because for many of us using Latisse, it really is purely a cosmetic decision. And so you have to make sure that if you're doing it just for cosmetic reasons, you have to make sure that the benefits for you outweigh the disadvantages. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I really hope that you found today's video to be helpful, and if there are any other questions that you have about my experience with Latisse or Latisse in general, please leave them down in the comments below and I will answer them to the best of my ability. Thank you again for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!